Welcome back, everyone, to the Everything in Racing podcast. Once again, it is me, all by myself, with my guest today, Josh Peake. Welcome to the podcast, buddy.
How's it going?
It's going pretty well. And once again, Ernie could not be bothered to show up. I don't know. That guy.
Must be using his vacation time.
Must be. I think he's going to, say, oh, my wife needed me to do something or whatever.
Need to restring my shoes.
Yeah, exactly. Priorities, man. Where are your priorities? So... Anyway, so we'll just go through this and just see how it goes. Hopefully, it's not too horrible, and maybe one or two people will watch it.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Learn something about Josh Peake and GALOT Motorsports Park.
Yeah.
So, well, we start the podcast with the same question every time, which is what got you into this world of horrible financial decisions, man?
Yeah. My dad was the national event starter for IHRA for about 35 or 40 years. So naturally I grew up around the sport or being a part of the sport. Went to races with him as a kid, back when IHRA, this is a long time ago. This is probably late 80s.
Okay.
So IHRA home office was in Bristol, Tennessee at the racetrack.
I've seen that track. I've never been down it. I really want to go down that track someday.
It's by far one of the best facilities. It's just the atmosphere, really.
Being in a valley and all that stuff just makes it cool.
It's awesome. Obviously, it was nothing back then like it is today, but that was the home office of IHRA a long time ago. It's pretty neat. It still was a very awesome place. Still had the same buzz that it does today. Just one of everybody's favorite places to go,
Yeah. When it's within sight of, the round track, it's Bristol, baby, and it's got so much history just right there.
It was in the right era, too.
Yeah.
The era of all things were great in drag racing. But, so grew up, went to a lot of races with him as a kid. That's when IHRA had national events at Rockingham and Darlington and Bristol and places that were close by. I went with him a good bit as much as possible. So that led to me working with them, and kind of here we are today. I mean, it's kind of a long road of things that happened, and worked for them as a kid, and then eventually did a lot of various roles over there. Eventually became division director and all the things.
So you just kind of your entire career has basically been around drag racing then? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's really cool, actually.
Yeah.
Most of us, it's, for me, it was, I got into it, just out of college,
right?
Because I had nothing better to do. And, I was watching Cletus McFarland and all these other guys and was like, oh, that looks cool. And then a buddy dragged me into it. And now I'm making all the horrible financial decisions.
Well, that's kind of how... my dad used to race some, but that's kind of how he got into it as well. On the working side, because he had friends that raced, and he raced, and there was a good friend of his that worked for the sanctioning body part-time, kind of as most people do for a sanctioning body. And they were at, I think, Rockingham maybe, and my dad was there with his buddies that were racing. And he was like, hey, man, we need some help. You want to work this weekend? He was like, I don't know. I'm kind of here to hang out and have fun with my buddies. If you can't find anybody, come back and ask me later. Well, he came back later on and went up to my dad again and was like, hey, we need somebody to work. Do you want to work or not? And he was like, well, the heck with it. You know what I mean? I can be around something that I love and still make money. Yeah. And it was kind of game on ever since after that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's really cool. So, have you always been, on the production side of it? Have you ever do you have a car that you race down the track or?
Not really.
Oh wow.
No.
You've avoided that horrible decision there.
Yeah.
You watch all of us do it.
Well, I mean, it's it's something I've always been interested in, but it's hard. I get really excited about the thought of it all the time, and I'll get to looking, and then reality tends to set back in after a couple weeks of looking, and was like, well, what am I going to do with it?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. When do I have time?
That's what you're going to do,
right? When am I going to have time to mess with it? You know, and
Well, we need to have someone go down the track to test it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but it's like, and it'd be hard for me to race at GALOT. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to run a facility and would be able to try to race too. You know, but
doesn't the owner of GALOT, he has a I don't want to call it a pro mod. It might be a pro mod, but it's
they used to have two.
They used to have two?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know there was one that like basically lives at Proline.
Yeah, all those cars are gone now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they were when they still had them, they were kind of renting them out. Travis Harvey, I believe, drove one here and there last year, maybe, or the year before. I don't really know, but all the pro mod stuff is gone, and it's just the tractors now for the tractor pulling.
Okay. All right. Which we just had a big tractor pull this last weekend.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
It was good. It was really good. It was my first event ever, as far as seeing it in real life. It was very different from drag racing, obviously, but it was great. I mean, man, Chamber of Commerce weather, like you couldn't have paid you couldn't have paid cash money for better weather than what we had.
I was looking at the weather last weekend going, man, I wish we were having that 28th race right now.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
This would be perfect weekend for that.
I thought about that too, and it was funny because they Full Pull did a live stream of that event, which is really cool. And they did kind of a setup, almost like a college game day setup, where they had like this big, like, crescent, like area of tables set up, so that it was almost like, like at a live broadcast for game day.
Yeah,
college game day.
Sportscasters.
Yeah, but they kind of did this before the event. And I went on there and was talking to them. They had like several of the pullers on there, and then they had me on there at the end of the show. And I told them, I was like, man, I guess I'm going to have to start doing more tractor pulls to get this kind of weather, because we just have not been very fortunate with weather this year. It's been hard.
You got introduced to the pollinating pretty heavy. When you got there.
Yeah. It was pretty crazy.
You posted a picture. I mean, it was like 2 months ago now, but it was like the track was just straight gold.
Yeah.
Going down the track.
Yeah.
And I was like, that looks miserable.
Yeah.
Like I was already suffering from my allergies, and I was like, I would not want to be the guy going down there with the tractor and the fans trying to get the pollen off.
Luckily, I don't have very bad allergies, but I tell you, it was. I remember it being bad before. I mean, actually, I'm from the South anyway, so we're kind of used to it. But, like, I know, places I've seen it really bad is like Rockingham, just because that place is completely surrounded by pine trees. I remember having events there in the past and seeing it really bad. Wake up the next morning and be bad. But that, I don't know, it's kind of like we got all the pollen at one time this year or something.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Speaking of Rockingham, actually, the episode that dropped today while we're recording this was Dan Van Horn, the owner of Rockingham, came on the podcast.
Oh, nice.
So we just dropped that this morning, the new owners and stuff. So that was pretty cool talking to him about some of the changes that they're making there.
Doing big things over there.
They are.
I haven't been over there to see it yet, though.
It's honestly, to me, the biggest changes that they made was they took up the first 800 feet and they put down concrete.
Sure.
Which it's done better, but it's not been 100% great. At the expansion joints, it's curling.
Yeah.
So that's caused problems. But the other part is that they've redone all the bathrooms, which has made it even nicer.
Yeah.
It's like not peeing in a trough anymore.
Much needed. Yeah, the same way it was in the 80s or whenever it was built.
Yeah. Well, it's funny for me. So, living here, my home track is GALOT.
Sure.
It's one of the first tracks I ever went to, and it's where I go for testing tunes and all sorts of stuff. And I never went there when it was Dunn Benson before.
Oh, okay.
The owners took it over and completely renovated that place. So, like, it's funny for me because I hear stories about, like, Dunn Benson was not the place you wanted to go. It was, like, a good place to buy weed if you wanted to go there. Like, that's what the story used to be, right?
Well, I mean, I don't. I mean, yeah, maybe I didn't go. I hadn't been there. I remember when I was with the sanctioning body still, we had some, and I'm talking about like probably early 2000s, I think we had some points races there, maybe 2 or 3 or something like that, when Roger Williams on the racetrack.
Okay.
But I don't know what the state of it was before, I guess Mr. Wells bought the place in 14, maybe. So I don't know what the state of it was then, but
apparently it wasn't good.
Yeah,
from what I hear.
Yeah,
which is and I don't want to compare it to any other tracks because I don't want to offend anybody.
Sure,
Be like but it is funny because like that was my real first experience is GALOT, which is really, if you've never been there, guys, it is one of the best tracks.
Oh, no
honestly.
doubt.
You know, the facilities are always nice and clean. You know, the track surface is usually great. You know, if it's really hot, it can get kind of greasy.
Right.
You know,
which is with anywhere. I mean,
yeah,
it is what it is.
It has been a whole lot. The track surface has been a whole lot better since you took over.
It's good to know.
You know, well, so I'm not going to get into any kind of the drama of what happened at GALOT over the last couple of years because I'll be honest, all I know is conjecture. I don't know anything.
Yeah, I don't either, really.
Yeah, and
it's all hearsay.
All I know for certain is whoever was kind of in charge of the track last year, they really just didn't have any testing tunes, and it was a lot of bracket racing. That's basically all that happened 2023.
Yeah, it's crazy. Since I've taken over, the two things that I've heard the most about is please have testing tunes and please try to make the parking situation better.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I don't know. I feel like it's been okay. Really haven't really been able to have enough races to really see any issues with parking, as far as, you know, you just can't let people come in there and do whatever they want to do when it comes to parking or whatever. Not saying that's what they were doing, but, you know, things happen and people will pull in and do whatever they want until somebody tells them, hey, you know, please don't do that.
Yeah, I know what would frustrate some racers at certain times was that they would, you know, you'd get your spot and you'd park there. And you'd go and you'd make a lap and you'd come back and there'd be someone parked directly next to you with no room. And it's like, okay.
Right.
That was, you know, I had my stuff laid out there. And it's not like another guy with a trailer. It'd be just like a regular car.
Right.
Just came and parked in your, like, setup area.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, what happened?
Or the person that rolls in there and saves 6 spots right beside him, too.
Yeah.
You know, like,
exactly.
I'm not a fan of that.
Puts out a bunch of cones and I'm like, I'm pretty sure you don't own the track.
I mean, I don't mind saving spots, you know, but my thing is you know, we used to treat it in back in the day that, you know, we always allow people to save spots at races. But the thing, if somebody showed up and wanted it, then you had to let them have it. You know, like, you know, it's kind of like, well, hey, my buddy's coming. Well, you know, if I come back the next day and that spot's still empty and I got somebody that's parked, you know, out in the grass that could have been on the asphalt with power because he wanted it and your friend's still not there, I mean, that's not right either. Because, you know, people show up early, take time off of work and make sacrifices to be sure that they get there in ample enough time to get the spot that they want to get. But, you know, if they don't, just because somebody wants to save 2 or 3 and their buddy may not come till 2 or 3 days later or 2 days later, then that's not fair either, you know, because that guy made this sacrifice.
Yeah. No, as far as that goes, I think it is a first come, first serve.
Yeah, it is. Definitely is. In my eyes, like, I'll tell anybody, like, you know, you can save as many as you want to, but if somebody rolls in here and wants to park there, you're going to let them park there.
Yeah. Yeah, the only time I've disregarded someone when it came to that was, like, I showed up and they're like, oh, we're saving that spot for our friend. And I asked him, when's he going to be here?
Yeah.
And they said, 2 days from now. I was like, no, no, sorry, I'm taking that spot.
No, that doesn't work for me.
That doesn't work. You know, if they're like, hey, he's 20 minutes down the road, I'm like, okay, I get it. He's almost here.
Yeah,
or
he's
right there. You know,
right.
Be like, okay, cool, I get that. You know.
Yeah, it's fine, but as long as nobody else wants it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Although I have heard probably the hardest one to get parking for as far as events goes is World Cup Finals up at MIR.
Oh yeah.
You know, I hear you have to get there like a week ahead of time to get a parking spot.
Yeah,
you know,
the event's already like
decent.
4 or 5 days long, and then you got to be there ahead of time. Royce and Jason and they do a phenomenal job up there. I think a lot of that facility always have. Royce is a very smart business person and has done very well up there. That's probably one of my favorite racetracks ever.
Have you seen their list for the qualifying ETs just to get into the race this year?
Yeah.
The slowest class is a 780 something?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, holy crap.
Right.
Holy crap, you know.
And it used to be, you know, they've gotten to where they have to put all those, like, you know, they have to limit the classes. You know, when that thing started, there was no limit to those classes, but they got to be where they had like 800 cars showing up for the thing, and it was like, whoa, you know, cut it back to manage it.
Yeah. So like they limit it down, and like I think they allow a certain amount of like extras to get in as like if a couple guys break.
Yeah.
But it's like if you don't qualify and nobody breaks, sorry. You're
Thanks
not
for
in.
coming.
Thanks for coming. Sorry.
It's still. Have you ever been?
I've not been to it. I want to go to it, and I want to be in it one day.
You have to go.
Yeah.
You have to go.
Yeah, you haven't seen my car because since you got here, it's been blown up, and it's at chassis jail right now, getting a 25.2 cage put in it. But I love racing. It's one of the best things ever.
Sure.
But like that's FL2K, TX2K, World Cup finals. Those are all races I really want to do.
Sure.
One day.
Yeah.
I was talking about Dan Van Horn. I was like, why don't we do an NC 2K? And he's just like, these conversations have been had. He's like, we've looked into it. Somebody owns all the names.
Already?
They've bought the names for every single state. So NC 2K, Alaska 2K, like they own all of the.
Somebody went to GoDaddy and bought all the domains for all the things.
And so he's like, we can set up something similar. He's like, a lot of it's just getting it going and having the facility to take it. Like GALOT would be great, but it would have to be a quarter mile to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Which that's been my only gripe about GALOT is that it's an eighth mile. It's not a quarter mile.
Well, it is, but we just don't have enough shutdown room to run quarter mile.
Yeah.
And it's no fault to theirs because they've, done everything in the world just about to ask to get the property down there, tried to buy it.
And they still haven't?
We don't have enough shutdown.
The rumor mill went like a couple years ago that they had bought the land.
No.
Yeah, okay.
No.
Okay.
The people the family that owns it, the lady, I guess it's the lady that owns it, she will not sell to the racetrack.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah. Need like 1,000 more foot to basically be able to run anything you want to run their quarter mile, like a fuel car. Like we need like 1,000 more feet.
Yeah, so I guess that was my question. Like if you wanted to have like, let's say the NHRA come in there, which would be awesome, right? On top fuel and funny cars and stuff like that. 1,000 feet is really what you need?
You need 1,000 foot to run a fuel car there.
Okay.
1,000 more feet.
1,000 more feet than what it's already got.
Yeah. Which is, if you look at it on Google Earth, that also puts you in the predicament of the way the racetrack is laid out. If you go to Google Earth, and Google Earth will allow you to measure things on their distances, and if you go from where the end of the concrete is before you get into the sand trap, if you measure 1,000 foot straight, it almost puts you in the road on 242. So there would have to be some other infrastructure done there.
Yeah, deeper sand trap and a bigger net.
Well, I just don't know that it makes sense at this point because, honestly, like with the direction I think that the industry's going, the investment at this point in time to do that, it doesn't make sense really. Yeah. I mean, if you're a facility that is already designed to have it, or you do have it, then sure, you know what I mean. But you're not even NHRA. You're not going to get a national event because you're too close to ZMAX.
That's true.
So that's part of the deal with the whole ZMAX thing, and it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
And really, what else would you benefit from running? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And the national events really don't do that well financially anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the only way that I would do it at GALOT as if it was a track rental. Like they would have to rent the track from me to have an event.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Which that makes sense.
Yeah.
I know, like, I'm only on the racers side of it. Going, man, I want more races. I want,
sure.
I want more track.
I mean, I think it'd be cool, but like, it's just like if you look at what it would cost today to do it, like it would be astronomical to what you could possibly recoup out of it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I've heard Cletus talk about that a lot with his track. About like investments into the track, and you have to look at, okay, if I invest this into it, do I make that money back by more people being able to be there, being able to hold bigger events, stuff like that?
It's no different than any other business. It's all about ROI. You know what I mean? So, it's and you have to do what's best for the business because at the end of the day, it is a business and it has to stay healthy because, as we all know in this industry, there's a lot of I mean, I feel like drag racing's in a good place.
Mm-hmm. Drag racing is definitely safe in North Carolina.
Yeah,
right now.
but it's hard. Like, everything is hard these days. Like, and it's just everything's so much more expensive. Glue is crazy. You know what I mean? And everything. The insurance and it's the things that people don't realize. I feel like sometimes the racers feel like that. The gates just open on Friday and you have an event, and then once it's over with, you just kind of, it is what it is for the rest of the week. But it's a lot goes on out there on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So, were you at Darlington before you came to GALOT, or what track were you working at before you came to GALOT?
I was at North Florida Motorplex.
Okay.
And it's just north of Panama City in Florida.
Okay. And were you doing track managing there as well?
Yeah, I was down there for about 2 years.
Okay.
So when I left IHRA, we basically started our own sanctioning body, the WDRA.
Okay.
Me and some of the guys that were there with IHRA whenever all that happened. So that was kind of all the transition. I left IHRA, and then I'd been working with the guys that redid a track kind of very similar to here. They went in and basically started over with all the infrastructure. And so they made me an offer, and I moved down there with my family, my wife and kids, and ran that place for about 2 years, and then was doing the WDRA thing at the same time.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I guess what drew you away from there to bring you back up here, other than just a job offer? Or did you guys want to come back up here, or like?
I mean, it kind of, I felt like it was meant to be.
Okay.
I'm originally from Columbia, South Carolina. So, I went from being, at home close to my family to being 8 hours away, which is kind of tough. I've always been very close to my mom and dad, my brother, and everybody else. And I've had our group of friends there. And so we moved down there. And then, over the winter time, this past winter, they called me from GALOT and said, hey, we're looking for a track manager. And didn't really think that they were interested in me at the time, but we kind of talked about it, and then eventually they said, well, we couldn't interest you in doing it, could we? And I was like, man, I don't know. Like, I just moved down here like 2 years ago. Yeah. And but I kind of felt like it was kind of meant to be. Like I said, it put me back closer to home. It kind of put me in my back in my pool of racers, because when I was division director, I was Division 9, Division 2. So this was all the tracks in South Carolina and North Carolina and all that. That's all the tracks that I dealt with over the years.
Well, let's go back to that pool of assholes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just like it was like coming right back, like to seeing the same people that I'd always seen racer wise, and that's cool to me. It's like, being at GALOT, I mean, the people that race out there, I mean, I know almost everybody, already.
Yeah.
So that's pretty neat.
Yeah, that was pretty neat. Some events you've done since you got back, PDRA, that one went pretty good, it looked like.
Yeah. Yeah, the weather was crap. But, imagine that. Yeah. But, I mean, the event was awesome. Records broke. I think the only thing that I feel like about the weekend was with the weather. It was, we tried to test Wednesday, and of course it rained a little bit, and we still were able to test some. We tested Thursday and Friday, which every day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it was like 50, 52 degrees, and the wind blew like 20 to 25 miles an hour with no sun. And it was just like, it was just sucked. And it was miserable. And Saturday, I think the sun finally came out Saturday, but it still wasn't warm, and that's hard for the spectators. They're not going to come out there and sit on aluminum bleachers when it's, 50 degrees outside and the wind's blowing 25 miles an hour, But yeah, I'm excited about that. That's a great event. I
need you to talk to the organizers for me, because they changed the rules this off season. So I was building my car to, is it Super Street? Is the slowest class there, and they allowed twin turbo setup, but it was up to 68 or 70 millimeter turbos, and that was the cutoff. And then this offseason, they just got rid of twin turbo altogether. They're like, nope, just you can't have twin turbo. That's it. I think the largest single turbo you're allowed to have is like a 74 or like 76 maybe. And I was like, but if you're nitrous, you can be as light as you want and run as much nitrous as you want, is basically how the rules go. So you look at that and you're like, I
wonder what the reason was.
I don't know what the reason was. I guess they're finding it difficult to rule out, to slow down the twin turbo guys.
Right.
So if they're running away with the class, they probably just squashed it.
Yeah.
It's like I feel bad for the guys that are trying to rule out Brett LaSala right now in Snot Rocket.
Yeah.
It's a 302 with a set of twin, T4 twin turbos. How do you rule that car out?
Right. Right. It's tough. It's like I don't know. It's kind of like the Pro Mod deal's kind of gotten the same way. That's why you got to have Pro Boost and Pro Nitrous. It used to be all the classes ran together back. I mean, all the variations of power adders ran together back in the day, and it's kind of hard to do that now.
It's just the nitrous guys not wanting to admit that the nitrous isn't as fast if they don't get all the handicaps.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think there's a lot of variables to it, but I don't know. I don't know how you do it, to make it the best for both worlds. It's tough. I wouldn't want to have to make the decision. I know Tyler and them had their hands full with that, and especially with the other, and that's like I want to do a big Pro Mod race at GALOT, but you have to make it to where it's fair because there's only a few Pro Nitrous cars that can run with the fast boost cars.
Yeah, like Stevie Fast. And,
well, I mean, like Halsey and Mickey. I mean, you can't. There's some really fast cars out there, and the nitrous guys.
Mickey car is nuts.
Yeah, it's nasty.
Just, doing what is it, 12 or 13 mile an hour over the rest of the field?
Yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah,
Holy
it's crazy.
Crap!
It's crazy for sure.
It's. I think one of my favorite things I saw a shot of inside of his trailer, and they just have boxes of turbos. And
I'm sure.
And there's if we go through a couple, who cares?
Right.
We'll just swap them out.
Yeah.
Geez, more money than I got.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that 28s race, pretty good turnout for that sucker. Surprise on a Thursday night.
I was shocked. I really.
You put $5,000 out there for everybody to win. Of course, everyone's going to show up.
Well, I mean, it wasn't just me.
Other guys. Put
we did $100 entry fee, and I was going to put $1,000 on top, and then next thing we know, get some really good sponsors to come. SP Tools of North Carolina, and Southern Diamond. Several others came in and added some money on top, and the next thing you know, we're running for $5,000 on a Thursday night.
Yeah.
So, I really, I tried to do some other small tire races there this year, but I think every one we tried to do got rained out.
Yeah. It's North Carolina is either 110 degrees on the weekend or it's
raining. Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
Or if it is nice, beautiful weather, you have a tractor pull.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was stoked. I really thought that for sure we would have 10 or 12. Maybe. I was like 12 is like best case scenario. But I think we ended up with 20 something, or 21, and then 20 ran first round.
20 ran first round.
Yeah. So I was like, holy crap. I mean, everybody was just stoked, and I was too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess what's your plan next time you do it to try and complete the event?
Well, I mean, I was down to run it. Like I was gonna say, they decided, I think at 5 cards, they were just like, oh, we're just gonna split the money and go home.
So you were at the start line, so you didn't see kind of the drama that was happening back at the in the lanes there. So I got into this a little bit with Turbo John and John Doc. If you disagree with what I'm saying, you are more than welcome to sit right there and correct me on what I'm saying. All right. So. I was helping John Birch with his black S550 Mustang.
Yeah.
Love that car, Ghost.
It's really
a great
cool
car. and he's helping me with my car as we're making a bunch of changes to it. So we got called up for third round. So we just drive the car on up there, and we're sitting in there. And then the S10 pushes up there and gets ready to go. John Dock doesn't show up. Forrest Kennedy doesn't show up in Scarlet Fever. And that the gray Fox body with the green stripes didn't show up.
Yeah.
Right? All of a sudden, that guy with the Fox body rolls up on his golf cart and goes to who's the guy with the beard that's at the lanes?
David Schroeder.
He goes right up to David and goes, "Hey, we all talked and we agreed we're going to split."
No, see, and that's
and me and Birch are standing there going, "We all talked?"
Right.
Because we were standing right here.
Yeah.
And we're part of all.
Yeah, because it was funny. So, I don't remember who came up to me and was like, "Hey, I think we're just going to talk about the five of us that are left splitting the 5,000, and everybody gets $1,000 a piece." And I'm like, I mean, I'm not racing. Like, you know, you guys can do what you want to do. But I said, but what you have to do is collectively get in a pile, and everybody decide that they're okay with it, and then I'm okay with it. Because if one guy says, or two guys say, you know, screw that, I want to race, then either you're going to load your stuff up and not race, and these two guys are going to run for $5,000 or whatever. So collectively as a whole, I don't care what you guys decide to do. But I really wish that they would have raced it out. Because I mean, even though we were getting close to curfew, I was determined to get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so, and part of the drama that happened after the fact, John Dock thought he'd blown up his motor at that time. He had no oil pressure on his sensors.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So he was offering to split, and he knew he had no oil pressure.
Right.
Right? So all of us are going, like, why are you offering to split when you think you don't have a car that can go down the track? You're just trying to get money out of it. Again, you come correct me if I'm wrong, John Dock. You know, but you know, so that's what it's led to a lot of, you know, online, you know, in our big group chat,
right?
You know,
back
and forth at each other.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, John's just like, "You're full of shit. You don't know what you're talking about." I was like, "I was right there."
Yeah.
You know, so I guess my thought was like, for the next one, if you think the same numbers are going to show up, or would you plan on trying to start it earlier? Because we didn't really get first round until 9:00 at night.
Yeah,
it was like 9:15 when we got first round.
Well, I mean, we're getting to the point now to where it's going to be really hard to get a good surface any earlier. Because I mean,
that's a tuner's game, buddy.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I don't want the track to suck.
That's
you know what
true.
I mean?
That's
like,
true.
If everybody goes out there and kicks the tires, then you know it's irrelevant. You know, and that's kind of, we waited a little bit longer, but I mean, you know, it's. You know, you can press the issue a little more about getting cars back and try to do it. But, you know, it's the first one, you know, so we're just trying to feel it. And not to mention, too, we didn't think we were going to have 20 cars either. You know what I mean? Like, had we had 10 cars, we'd have already been done at that point, or 12.
Yeah.
But, you know, having 20 and trying to figure out what we're going to do to get done next time is, to me, in my eyes, like a really good problem to have.
Oh yeah, that's a great problem to have.
So,
absolutely.
you know, I don't know. You know, it's gonna get hard to get the racing surface to where it needs to be.
Until like
the time
September.
of year we're getting to, or even October. I mean, because
Yeah.
it's still hot here in September.
It is, but we have certain days where it's not. You know,
Yeah.
it's starting to get okay.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. It was fine that day. I mean, it was a little warmer than I'd like for it to have been, you know, but you know, it is what it is. And you know, I didn't, like I said, you know, we had that shakedown, and then you know, some cars got down the track. Most everybody got down the track, even on the shakedown, and I hadn't really even gotten after it out there yet. But, you know, and you know, like you said, it's a tuner's game. You know.
I've won more races turning my car down than I have turning it up.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, everybody wants to come up there, be the fastest car, rotate the earth or whatever. But, you know, everybody's racing on the same surface is the way that I look at it.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't know. I'm one of those racers that I try to go out there and find, like, who's going to be the hardest one to knock out, and I try to get them first round.
Yeah.
So that, you know, they're not on their game, hopefully.
Yeah. You know.
Either I'm going to go home right away, or I'm going to knock out, you know, the big dog first.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Which, you know, sometimes works out for me, sometimes it does not work out for me.
Well, you know, it is what it is. But,
yeah.
I enjoyed. I want to do more of that for sure.
I know I've been bugging you about doing a streetcar class.
Yeah, and I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. I want to just get more races like that over there in general.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've got some ideas of things to do. Something I want to try actually. I've talked to one or two people about it, and it's kind of an off the wall idea. I don't know that it's been done before, but I thought it'd be fun to do. But maybe in November. I've got a date set in November to do some type of big small tire race.
Okay.
So maybe we'll do it then.
Okay. Yeah, it's when I sent you the rules that I was thinking about for my streetcar class, I'd sent that to my group chat. Well, one of the group chats I'm in, which is we're all daily driver kind of cars. Although they're threatening to kick me out because of all the changes I'm making to my car, and it's so funny because defining what a street car is so hard. It's one of the big debates we have on this podcast all the time.
Sure.
I ask almost everyone, what's your definition of a street car?
Well, it's no different than the all steel, all glass debate. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many variations of that class anymore. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's all steel, all glass. Well, except for the windshield and the back glass, that can be Lexan because safety, and the doors and the hood,
quarters,
and the
doors, floor pans, and
it's like as long as there's a piece of metal somewhere on there, we'll count it.
Right. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I almost wish that the guys that are really good or really big in the promoting of small tire races, and I wish we could just all collectively, not saying that I'm one of those guys, but like the big players, like I wish they would just all collectively get together and just come up with a generic set of rules that everybody's going to abide by for all steel, all glass. That way, instead of having 8 of them or 10 of them at a race, they would have 30,
Maybe that's what we need to do one day is try to get all of them together. We'll get them all around this table.
Yeah,
we'll just hash it out.
That'd be awesome. I mean, I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But
and just be like, look, these are the rules we're all going to agree on.
Yeah.
Let's get the disagreements out now.
Yeah.
And that way, exactly. So guys can build a car, and it fits for all.
Yeah, they go race more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. What's your definition of a street car, though?
Oh Lord, I don't know.
Because it's the kind of thing you have to deal with, though. If you're looking at building those classes, you have to put some kind of definition on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about the registered and insured, but I mean, you can register and insure a lot of things anymore.
Not if you're in Johnston County or Wake County.
Right, probably not. But
they're dropping emissions this year, and I'm so happy about that.
Are they?
End of this year, there are no more emissions testing in Johnston and Wake County.
Oh, wow.
So I've been handicapped against all the other street cars I've been racing against because they're all in different counties.
Oh,
and so I'm like, you don't have
a family member that lives somewhere you could register?
No.
I don't know. Like, I think it should really be, something that you can drive on the street. Like, I think you ought to be able to drive it to Fayetteville from here and back. You know what I mean? Like, but streetcars have gotten crazy.
Because it's so easy to make power now.
Right.
Yeah. Like a little, like Coyote, because that's the world I'm in.
Yeah.
Freaking Coyotes, you can turn out 1,000 horsepower without even opening them.
Yeah.
And then if you do open them, do a little bit of work, you make it 1,500 with a twin turbo kit. Like
that's
nothing,
right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why when I was sending you stuff, I was basing it mostly on weight.
Right.
Just going, look, let's just get a certain weight out of it, and that's going to just eliminate all of the race cars that claim that they're street cars.
Yeah. You mean make them weigh a certain amount?
Yeah, so I'd say like that 3,700 pounds.
3,700.
And like, because GALOT's got the scales you can just drive across.
Right.
And so it'd be just like, hey, after you make your run across the scales.
Yeah.
If that number is lower than 37 with you in the car, you're out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You forfeit. That's just how it is. And Dan Van Horn was saying the same thing. He's working on a couple streetcar classes, and he's saying, just base it on weight.
Right.
That's the easiest thing to check.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, especially if you were like, okay, well, we're going to do it, but we're going to have, overdrive only. You know.
Yeah.
Well, with those 6R80s, you can do the 400 hub swap on the inside of it. It's a 3-speed transmission, like a turbo 400.
Right.
But it's in a 6R80 case. So how do you check that?
Yeah.
You know.
No, I think it has to be, something that's feasible.
Yeah.
And and maybe you have a couple different classes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
What they call like a daily driver class or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's, I think a lot of guys just go and look at Streetcar Takeover's rules, which they have good rule sets as well. And they do a pretty good job of enforcing those rules.
Right.
I always just harp on Streetcar because that's the level that I'm at. I know I'm slow. I'm not anywhere in that all steel.
It's all about having fun, though.
Oh yeah,
that's all that matters.
Absolutely. It's what I can afford to do.
Right.
There's no way I'm going to try and go trade blows with Scarlet Fever, or, Slick Rick, or any of those cars. They're going to wipe the floor with me.
Right.
I'll talk crap on the internet, but that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's been pretty. I really enjoyed the 28th race, and I look forward to what you have.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I definitely want to do more of that, for sure. GALOT being like what it is, and you have to keep things moving and changing. You just can't be doing all one thing all the time. You got. I
can definitely tell you guys love your bracket racing.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of bracket races around, and that's kind of what's been, done there a lot. But, we have some really good events.
Yeah, there seems like there's a bracket race pretty much every weekend, not just at GALOT, but like GALOT, Rockingham, Kinston, Darlington, just like everywhere.
Yeah.
And there's I've run 252 races before,
and
they always include bracket racing in that too. And when I asked David, the guy who runs it, I'm like, why is there a bracket race in this? He's like, well, they need somewhere to race. And I was like, they have everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, us list racers have,
right.
nowhere to race, really.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and then, I guess you look at it, I guess, depending on where they have those or whatever is, with what else is going on with it as far as timing goes. And then, that way you just don't have this big downtime of nothing going down the racetrack or whatever. But we have the 252 list race coming up at GALOT.
Yeah, in the fall, right? Yeah.
It's October?
Yeah. I
think.
My car won't be back together by then.
No.
I
think it's October.
No. David's tired of my car in his race anyway. Too many people complained about it. So we called the car emotional damage.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because it hurts my feelings a lot. But also when we have it, like I am a gray area racer, right? You give me a set of rules, and I will take the car right up to that edge of the rules.
Yeah.
And if there's something you didn't specifically state, I will take advantage of it.
Yeah. Get in the gray area.
Yeah, exactly. And so like one of the first years, it was saying, it needs to be original factory equipment and all this other stuff. Well, I put carbon fiber doors on the car. Now, I did that because I had wrecked the car and I had some insurance money to pay for new doors, and I painted the doors. So you couldn't tell. Right? But everyone guessed that I put carbon fiber doors on the car. There wasn't a specific rule that said I couldn't do that.
Right.
But there also wasn't a rule that said I could do that.
Yeah.
And he said he received like 10 calls that week. That the first race I came out to with the carbon fiber doors of guys trying to get me kicked out of the class.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. What's the weight difference?
About 70 pounds on the car.
Pretty good.
$2,300, for the doors, and then paying someone to put them on the car and paint them.
Sure.
Which they did a great job. You like, unless you get it like a very specific angle, you can't tell.
Right.
Unless you knock on it.
Yeah.
I caught 3 guys doing that. They just come knock on my car. I'm like, hey, would you like if I go knock on your car? Let's go start looking for problems with yours.
Yeah, no doubt. That's funny.
And I know what's really funny to me was some guys accusing me of cheating on that, saying I had carbon fiber doors, and I know they had carbon fiber doors too. And I'm like,
careful when you throw rocks.
I'm like, why are you accusing me of cheating? I know you're already cheating.
Yeah.
They're like, well, it's fiberglass. It's not carbon fiber. I'm like, big whoop.
Right.
What is it, a 2-pound difference?
Yeah. I say, don't throw rocks.
Yeah, I'm like, you have a carbon fiber hood, and I have a stock hood. It's like a 3-pound difference. I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what future events do we have coming up at GALOT?
Oh man. Points race this weekend. Next weekend we have the NHRA divisional race. The weekend after that is one of the rainouts points races that we had for back during the early part of the year. And I'm trying to think of what else was after that. I can't even
I think
remember.
you've got another 28th race on the 28th.
I think it
20th?
might be third weekend of June.
I can look it up. We do have the internet here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not at the racetrack.
Yeah. Yeah, internet's down, you're saying?
Again, yeah, all day.
Yeah.
All day.
Jeez Louise.
And it's like the second time it's happened in like the last month.
So here's a question I've had actually for a really long time. Does every drag strip use the exact same website and just retool it?
That's Gary Rowe.
What it's so it's not that. I'm talking about like the website setup. Every single drag strip I go to, it's the blue background with a little bit of orange on it. They all look exactly the same.
Yeah, well, Gary Rowe does a lot of the websites for a lot of different racetracks. And matter of fact, Rockingham is one of them.
Yep, Rockingham's look exactly the same.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
So that's why the platform looks very similar.
Yeah, it's the 27th.
27th
is when you have the next 28 shootout.
Okay.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yep. So, and then
hopefully we'll get a cool day for that.
Yeah, it looks like on July 13th you have a Saturday night gamblers race with a test and tune.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be cool. Saturday test and tune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try to do that in the summertime because it gets to be, I don't know, try to do something different around here. You know, like instead of trying to do Thursday night test and tune, you know, try to maybe switch it up in the summertime. Do a Saturday night test and tune because I don't know. I don't know if anybody around here this area does anything Saturday nights, but test and tune wise.
Mm-hmm.
So. I don't know. We'll try it and see.
Yeah.
And we've got. I think I've got some 28 stuff planned on some Saturday nights too, and maybe do like I want to do like a 650 and a 570 index heads up class with a 28 race.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you got a couple gamblers night.
Yeah,
Saturday night
there's some other
gamblers.
things. That website may not be updated all the way through the end of the year yet, but.
Yeah, so 252 is in September on the 27th and 28th.
September, okay.
Yep. Yeah, Friday and Saturday night. And then October, PDRA comes back.
Yep.
For Drag Wars.
Yep.
What they call it. So.
Yeah, I was talking to Tyler on the way here. He's going to start we're going to start getting some promotional stuff out for that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, no, that was a really good turnout, actually, you know, as far as like racers and fans and
PDRA?
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, the racers it was crazy. It was a lot of there was a bunch of cars. I don't know how many cars there were total, but it was definitely over 300.
Yeah.
I think there was, you know, over 50, almost 60 cars in just Top Dragster and Top Sportsman alone. So
yeah.
Well.
So you had a bracket race not too long ago. And I saw like it was like 200 entries or something like that, or like 200. Like it was a ton of racers out there.
We had the Spring Fling.
Spring Fling.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had 544 entries on Saturday.
Okay, so I underdid it by a lot.
Yeah.
Wow.
We did. We started racing Tuesday and raced every day, but by the time we got to Saturday, we had 544 entries just for the race Saturday, and we were done by 9.
Wow.
So
that is just
rolling them through. That whole week was perfect. You know, as far as the weather was phenomenal, no problems. You know, I think we stopped one time the entire weekend to clean up anything on the racetrack, and that's racing from Tuesday to Saturday.
I guess that is the nice part about having bracket cars is that you're not pushing it to the limits of what the car's capable of doing.
You typically always have something, you know what I mean? But it just, like I say, you know, you have a weekend like that to where everything would be just right, and then you may have a race. The next race you have, you may not be able to get past every 10 pair of cars go down the racetrack without having to clean something up, you know. Yeah. But it was great. Peter Biondo, Emily, his wife, their whole group, all the fling races are good races. there's a big value there, and they do a good job. They bring in a great crew.
Yep. So what kind of stuff are you doing on a day-to-day at the track? Like what kind of, like what does Josh's job kind of entail? Man. You know, like how much staff do you have there at the track helping you? I guess is better.
Just me and Cedro.
You and Cedro. All right.
Yep.
All right.
I mean, it's everything. You know, it's everything from, you know, planning races and social media and, you know, fixing stuff and, you know, working on things. I mean,
I know you're building those new bathrooms with the showers.
They're finished.
They're done.
They're finally done.
There you
go. Which is awesome. They turned out phenomenal. But, I mean, it's 7 days a week, really. I mean, there's always plenty to do. I mean, you think about, you know, just cutting grass. You know, there's lots of grass out there to cut. And I really appreciate Cedro a lot because if it weren't for him, I don't know what I would do. I'd be in trouble.
Pulling your hair out.
Yeah, I'd be hiring a landscaping crew to come in there and cut grass every week just because I can't do all that stuff by myself. And, you know, I'm doing social media, planning events, you know, recaps, flyers.
Do you plan on doing more of those, like, you know, test days that you did earlier this year?
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I saw that and I was like, man, I hope he keeps doing that next spring when my car's done.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. As a matter of fact, we're gonna do some next Tuesday. We're gonna do some testing, I believe, from 12 to 8.
Okay.
Big tire. Several PDRA cars are wanting to come over and test next Tuesday because they have a race there at Maryland next weekend.
Okay.
So some guys are wanting to come over and do some work.
Nice. Well, the big group chat that I'm in, I asked him a while ago because there's been some trouble getting you on the podcast. You know,
I'd say so.
You thought you broke your hand at one point.
Yeah,
your HVAC went out and just all sorts of stuff. They wanted me to ask one time, do you ever plan on doing a back of the track no prep race out there? You know, I didn't think so.
No.
GALOT's not really the kind of place for that.
No, I mean, and we're not really set up for it either. Not to mention, you know,
Rockingham's got that with dig or die. You know?
Yeah, I mean, Rockingham's got miles of racetrack to use. You know what I mean? Like, and they kind of set themselves up for it to where it's safe. You know, we're not there.
I guess GALOT isn't as wide as Rockingham is. Is it? Or that's what I've heard. Is that at least the far end of the track down there is pretty wide.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it's probably built to the old standards of way how it's laid out. But
well, it used to be a runway.
Yeah. I don't know. I would say it's definitely probably wider for sure. But you know, I just, you know, there's mixed emotions about that. You know, as far as, you know, I think it's if the facility is set up ideally for it, then I would say so. I mean, I'm all for doing no prep races, but I mean, I would want to do them in a safe manner from the front side. Yeah, you know. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It might hurt you to take up all the prep you've been putting down.
Yeah, I mean, I do that every once in a while anyway. But you know, maybe if we could plan it accordingly.
We kind of make fun of the no prep kings sometimes, where we call it the some prep kings.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Like they raced, I think, you know, come in and race on a weekend behind a PDRA event.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
It's one of them. You could hear on TV when they're in like the driver's meeting. You can hear the quick as they're going around, and they're like, "All right, we're at no prep kings," and I'm like, "That sounds like pretty prepped to me." Yeah. You know, like that sounds like I'd get a 120 60 foot out of that.
Yeah, I mean it. You know, I guess they should. You know, it is what it is over there. But
yeah,
I think, you know, it ought to be scraped down. You know what I mean? I don't say it has to look like, you know, like bare concrete, but. You know, I think go out there and take the surface off and let everybody just come out there and race on whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be down for it.
Yeah. I'm a prep racer myself.
Yeah.
I like that glue down there.
Yeah.
And like you know, I don't like when my car all of a sudden goes that direction or that direction for no reason whatsoever.
Right. Yeah.
You know, been there, done that. Not interested. Got the T-shirt, you know.
And it's I mean, I don't really have. I mean, I haven't really had anybody or multiple people. I don't know that anybody has said anything to me about having one at the track. A no prep event.
Yeah, it was one of the older guys in our group chat. Was like, ask him about doing, a back of the track no prep race, and I was like, I'll ask, but I don't. And pretty much everyone immediately goes, dig or die. It's they have 4 times a year or 3 times a year at Rockingham, so
right.
They kind of have that on kill. Actually, one of the fun things Dan was saying was that like at the end of Rockingham, they still have the number is still on the end of the track from when it was a runway. You can still see it there. It's like runway 9 or something like that.
Right. That's right.
He's like, it's the funniest thing because it's,
it's a long way down there.
It's 5,000 feet is what he said.
I remember, we had a fuel car one time there for a national event that actually went all the way to the very end, and that was like, I don't remember what happened, but it was, I mean, no chute, no brakes, and still didn't run out of racetrack. Like, the car actually stopped before it still got to the end of the asphalt, and it was a haul down there. Mm-hmm. You about need to get a plane ticket to go to where the car was. It was a long way down there.
Yeah. The when my car disintegrated, it was at, or I say disintegrated, the engine exploded.
Yeah.
It was at Rockingham, and luckily the engine let go just past the 8th mile, and it went past the 1/4 mile before it stopped.
Yeah.
But luckily, like, it's wide enough, I didn't hit anything.
Yeah, for sure.
Engine let go, drove through my own water, and then just sideways and at 130. So that was super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, I've only had one breakage at GALOT. It was an axle. Y'all owe me an axle. Which, I don't think the guy's working there anymore. The guy was working the start line at that time. I snapped an axle, and he thought he saw fluid, so he kicked a pan under my car that was just sitting there. And it was like in the video that we had on it, it looked like he'd practiced it a million times. Of like, my car brakes, it goes ding, and it perfectly goes under my car, like catch, the grease coming out from my car. Yeah. And then they just pushed me back, and they're like, "Oh, you're fine."
Wow.
I was like, I can't remember who that guy was, but it was
probably Harold.
Maybe. Maybe. But that was number 1 of 3 axles that I snapped in the car. So, IRS man on a Mustang, it doesn't like you.
Yeah.
It's once you try to do like a 124 or 123 60-foot, they just don't like it, and so they snap axles at the start line.
Yeah.
And we're gonna try and do something to fix that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say on here exactly what we're doing, but we're
top secret stuff.
I can't give away all my secrets.
No.
Yeah. So
might get kicked out of
the daily driver class.
Right.
Yeah, they're all like, "Oh, you're going X275." I'm like, I would love if she went X275 fast. I'm not. What's X275 running now? It's like 420s or 3s or something.
Sure.
They're ridiculously fast on a 275.
Yeah, I'm sure it's 3s.
Yeah. I'm just like, maybe Ultra Street, like a 450 if I'm really dogging on it. But, it's. I might break into a 4. Hopefully I do at GALOT. That'd be nice.
Heck yeah.
But yeah. So, well, we're coming up right up on about an hour here. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
I enjoyed it.
Where can people follow you online if you want them to follow you at all?
Well, I mean, it's just Josh Peake, on Facebook, Instagram, and of course, all the GALOT stuff. The information's out there too. So, anybody ever has any questions or needs anything, feel free to reach out to me anytime.
All right. Awesome.
It was good to finally be on here. I know it's been crazy.
Yeah. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Absolutely.
And, look forward to the races that we got coming up.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about it. I know it's starting to get hot, but we'll come up with some fun things to do. We got the I want to do a concert out there too, like that stage.
I was going to ask, you got that stage out there. I don't think I've ever seen.
No,
it's
not finished.
Out there.
It's not finished. We're trying to get that finished. So I want to do. Collectively do some things together. Do some racing and concert and whatever.
Yeah. I've often thought, because like the big part of street car type races is that there's always downtime because somebody's gonna break.
Yeah.
Right? So if you had a band on standby basically and be like,
or a DJ
or DJ or something,
you know?
and be like, hey, look, we're down for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
DJ whatever he's going nuts.
Right. Yeah.
And provide some entertainment, and then be like, we're back.
Be cool
on.
to put a screen up over there or something to where you can still watch the racing.
Yeah, you could.
Whatever.
Well, could you put them up on the
video boards?
On the video boards?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could probably do that. Those things are pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're awesome.
That is the one funny part about GALOT is they're so far out there you can see your time as you go by.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You're just like, oh man, I did pretty.
Well, because I thought it was going to be quarter-mile stuff there, but
yeah.
But yeah, they're definitely the nicest scoreboards in the industry. I don't know if anybody else that has those type of scoreboards.
I don't know, man.
I mean, there's places that have LED boards that you can see real well, but I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, they're even nicer than Z-Maxes. I like Z-Max. I've done Streetcar Takeover there.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wish they did more stuff there, though. Like, they do, 3 events a year, maybe?
And it's expensive. It's the overhead.
I guess that's the thing.
It is. It's the overhead.
Because it's owned by the Circle Track, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they run stuff there a lot, decently well.
Bruton Smith's business.
I'm sure that place is expensive, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they own, they own there and Bristol and Las Vegas and the drag strips and the circle tracks, Texas. So,
I would not want to be in charge of cleaning all the bathrooms there.
No,
that's a lot.
No, so big crews for that stuff.
Yeah. Well, anyway, guys, I'm Nate, the Fast Plumber, on Instagram and on YouTube, if you guys want to follow me there. Ernie is not with us again today. He's on 10-5 Life. If you want to follow him, please hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yep.
So, all right.
Appreciate it.
See you.
Thanks.
Don't forget to sign the hood before you leave.
Absolutely. All right.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.